Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and by popular demand, we're going to be playing some Historic Brawl today, with the Historic Brawl Fest event being live, of course. Today we're going to be revisiting a list, one that I kind of just really fancy playing. We're going to be playing Chandra Torch of Defiance. So, there's many ways that you can build a Chandra Torch of Defiance list. You can do like Big Red, you could do mid-range. I'm choosing really to do kind of a Protect the Queen style of deck, so the idea behind the Protect the Queen is to get a threat in play and try to keep it alive for as long as possible until it does the thing that wins you the game. Chandra Torch of Defiance is a pretty interesting card to allow you to do that. So 4 mana, 4 loyalty Planeswalker, and the reason why we're going to be playing this card is for that -7. If we get to the -7, which only takes a few turns, then we get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to any target. That's going to close out the game in pretty much every scenario that you'll ever find. It's also a form of card advantage with the first tick up, allowing us to exile the top card of our library. We can cast it, but if we don't, then it deals 2 damage to each opponent. It's a form of ramp, with the +1 as well for the double red, so it allows us to get into our big spells like Fire Emancipation and Ugin. And then it's also a form of removal with the -3, dealing 4 damage to target creature. It's pretty tall removal in a format like this, so yeah, really, really versatile card and absolutely insane value. So the idea is we're going to get this down as early as possible. We've designed the deck in such a way that we can get this down on turn 3 relatively consistently, because we have Arcane Signet, Cold Steel Heart, Guardian Idol, and Mind Stone, 4 2-mana rocks that can help us get a turn 3 Chandra. The earlier we get this out, the less chance our opponent has of finding removal for it, or even maybe even forced to use like quality removal against it, because it is just such a quick build-up of a threat. We also, of course, do have other win conditions, as we've mentioned. We've got the Ugin the Ineffable, a 6 mana 4 loyalty. Makes you colorless spells 2 less to cast, so every single artifact in our deck is 2 mana. It's mostly coincidence, it's not by design. But that basically means all of our rocks are free, which is kind of cool. The tick up exiles the top card of our library and starts making 2/2s, and then whenever those 2/2s leave the battlefield for any reason whatsoever, we get that card in our hands. So it's a big card advantage engine here. You can also -3 to destroy a permanent that's 1 or more colors. Again, going to be using that to potentially try and keep Chandra alive so we can get to that 7 loyalty. Most of the cards in this deck aim towards helping Chandra stay alive, so we got lots of early game removal. We've got like Braids, which can also hit artifacts, which is quite nice. We also have Chandra's Embercat. Forgot about that. We have 5 rocks in our deck that get Chandra out early. We do also have other Chandras as well, with Chandra Fire Artisan and Chandra Awakened Inferno. So, you know, Chandra's Embercat's not just kind of sat on its own doing nothing most of the time. So that's pretty good. We do also have Fires of Invention in this list, which means that we only have to pay for command attacks. So if our opponent has hit Chandra 19,000 times, we'll only have to pay 19,000 mana rather than 19,000 mana +4, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I feel like the rest of the deck kind of speaks for itself. It's just a lot of removal. We do have an Ironcrag Feat in here, which allows us to ramp up into our big spells. We also have Banefire as a big spell. Plenty of ways of generating mana in this deck, Chandra included. So we could do like Ironcrag Feat, tick up for mana, Banefire with all that mana, or something of that sort. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Chaos Swaps in here. There's any permanent removal, which is kind of cute. We can even hit Field of the Dead with that if we really wanted to. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it off here. I feel like I've said everything I need to say about this deck. Hopefully the games will speak for themselves, and hopefully you enjoy today's video. If you do, I would really appreciate if you do help out the channel and myself with a like and a subscription if you haven't yet done so already, or even leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're playing in Historic Brawl right now. I'm very interested to hear. If you can inspire me to build a deck, then maybe next time we come around to some more Historic Brawl, I'll be playing a list based off of your suggestions. So leave them down below. Or just say something nice, I don't know. Or say something mean. You could do that if you want. I'd rather you didn't, but you can. It all feeds the algorithm, and I'm all for that. As long as the algorithm is well fed. Chef's kiss, I'm okay with it. Anyway, guys, enjoy the video. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, Mono Red versus Mono Blue. We're on the play, and we've got an Arcane Signet for a turn 3 Chandra, potentially, and some removal along the way. I think we're going to go with this one. This is going to be an interesting matchup, because our opponent's commander is as bad as our deck is. So, there's that. Yanling, Sky Dancer. I'm going to play the mountain here. Might have to bolt myself later, but I'll take the chance of drawing a mountain anyway. 3 mana, 2 loyalty. You can tick up to give a creature -2/-0, and it loses flying. You can -3 to make a 4/4, but you have to tick up first. And then the -8 is pretty sweet, actually. Get an emblem with islands you control, have tap to draw a card. Alright, so they went with Glasspool Shore. We're going to go with the Arcane Signet here. Hope our opponent isn't running Counterspell, I guess. Tap out. Dang it. Right, what do we do here? Because we could play our Chandra, or I could play the Rekindling Phoenix. Like, they could have negates, quenches, tails ends. I feel like I don't take the bait. Oh, punished. I'm assuming that's a big old punish. They had 2 mana for something and they didn't use it though, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that they had a live draw to a counterspell there. Or maybe they only have 1 and they know that Phoenix isn't as bad as Chandra resolving. Again, like, they have the opportunity to play Yanling and tick up on the Phoenix, and they haven't, so you got to ask yourself why that is the case. I think I'll just go with the Maze Mind Tome here. Yeah, 3 mana counterspell's definitely been held up here. And I'll just make my land drop so I can pay for conditional counterspells, I think. And now I get to draw cards. I get to threaten Yanling with a good time. It's 4 mana. They've got to do something eventually, because I have the threat that they have to respond to. And I'm sure I can keep dumping more into play. I think I'll just hit you for 4, draw and hold Stomp, and a Braid up, I guess. Like, if they tap out here to flash in a creature, then I've got my Chandra to resolve then. Or anything of that kind of level of play. I don't think I'm going to be drawing into anything, but I guess I might as well look. Anything that I'd like to resolve here? Yeah. I think it was worth a look. Probably digging for lands, I would guess. Not the most exciting game plan on their side. Faceless Haven's going to be very, very useful as well. Not being able to bounce non-land permanents, not being able to stop it from entering the field. Yanling can't target it, for example. There's lots of good stuff going on there. I'm going to stomp my opponent so that I can play Bone Crusher Giant. Miscast. Sure. I'll get him for 4 first. I might play Sarkin and minus. It never resolves, but it eats a counterspell. And look at that, we gain 1 life. Isn't that awesome? If this resolves, Chandra Torture Defiance is coming down next turn, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, there's the negate from probably turn 2. No surprises there, really. We've got a Banefire as well, which is going to be pretty dope. I feel like our opponent's inaction here is really going to cost them the game. Because, like, the closer I get to lethal Banefire, the worse it gets for them. Unless they've got their own interplanar beacon, like, blue doesn't really gain life. Could have a Radiant Fountain as well, I suppose. We already have a land drop, we already have a playable, we're not going to scry. I should be getting in with my Faceless Haven. That's a mistake. Into the Royal. Shot. Cast Rekindling Phoenix. Another counter spell. I didn't say please, you're absolutely right. Oh, uncounterable Chandra goes into the bin. It's like our best hit. I'm gonna go with Faceless Looting. Ironcrag Feet. I mean, that's just for a good Banefire, so we'll take that. We'll go down the Abrade. Probably just go down the mountain here. Yeah, maybe. Because of the Ironcrag Feet and the draw from Mazemind Tome. Frostbite. Okay. Slide for 3 damage. Mystic Sanctuary, putting counter spell back on top. Gonna go for a negate specifically. I'll want to get that out of them somehow. So this is 7, 8, 9, 10. So we can Banefire X9 right now. Good to know. Guess what puts them to 9? They did just draw the negate, right? I think they did. I wasn't paying attention, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, I mean... big old Glory Bringer. Does not resolve. We'll go with a Guardian Idol, another attacking threat. There's the negate. Fantastic, running out of action. Opponent's definitely the control player here, and we're definitely the aggressor, so we've got to act like it. Got to keep constant threats going on, and should be activating my Faceless Havens more often than I am. Guess what also puts them to 9? Doesn't get bounced by bounce magic. To do the 9, though, I do have to resolve the Ironcrag feat, so although the Banefire is uncounterable, the lethal damage requirement is not. I wonder, can I... 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3... With a land, I can actually play Chandra and... activate Faceless Haven. Chandra's Regulator. Alright, well, Faithless Haven. Do we just take care of Mu Yanling? We don't really need to protect versus the 4/4 that it'll make, so I guess not. We can actually send 4 here, bait out that last card. If it's counter magic, we'll get it. Interesting. Let's add mana for the Regulator. They're already at lethal with feet plus Banefire, so let's just make Chandra a little bit better. I don't know what that last card is. They could use it, but they chose not to. Could use that spell, but they chose not to do it. So they didn't care to stop Faceless Haven, taking them to 9. Maybe they think it's because they're not... They might think that they're alive. Maybe.
Take to the sky, my friend.
Okay. So a tick up with Chandra. I can pay 1 to do the double tick up, so that's 4. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. They need like Tail's End to counter. I'm just gonna use this to scry for a land drop. I think a mountain's just fine here, so... Fires of Invention, maybe not so much. Yeah, let's deal 4 with Chandra.
Today's my
Deal.
lucky day. Yup.
Deal.
You're going down.
You're going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exactly lethal. And exactly uncounterable. You love to see it. Can you gain 1 life? Or deal with Banefire in a way that is not a counter spell. There are spells that can return spells to hand. It's technically not counter magic. So that's an option for them. I think commit counts as that because it doesn't actually say counter spell on it or anywhere. So that would work, I guess. They have the mana for that. But it's only a matter of time until that comes back into my hand, unless I guess they memory straight after and fill my hand up, which maybe just ends up being worse. I don't know. Either way, though, pretty decent aggression there. We'll take it. Next game. An interesting matchup and a slow hand from us. It's just removal against Belladross Witherbloom. I don't know what this deck will be doing. I guess it's Strixhaven themed with a little bit of aristocracy style thing. I might just take the free mull on here and try get a turn 3 Chandra. That might be my game plan. This hand's fine and all, but we can do better. And, well, turn 3 Chandra's on the table now, so that's cool. So, Belladross Witherbloom, 7 mana 4/4 flyer. At the beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. That's it. And you can pay 10 life to untap all lands you control only once each turn. Arcane Signet for them, Cold Steel Heart for us, although... Actually not. This kind of works out the same way, except for I potentially mana screw my opponent. And I think that's very important to take them off of green mana here if they don't have it. They do not. Look at that. A thing of beauty. And now I get ahead on mana. Land and I could play Ugin if I wanted to. Would that be the play? Or would I want to just go Chandra? Well, it might be Chandra tick up for mana per Ferocious Intervention. It depends on what they get here. Or even Chandra Awakened Inferno. The problem is they've got 3 black mana and that just kills Planeswalkers. So it's what I want to leave behind, basically. I'm thinking it might just be Chandra here, because obviously she goes back into my command zone instead of the trash.
I knew you needed my help.
Let's just exile the top and deal some damage. She also has a much more dangerous end game as well. Ooh.
Today's my lucky day.
Yes, please. Baleful Mastery draws me a card. Thank you. It was for our opponent. Okay, so now we can upkeep stop because I know that I'm going to have mana next turn to do it with the Field of Ruin. Vastwood Surge fixes their mana. I think that's what I want to do, right? Because I've got one for the tap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so I might as well just, like, improve my draw a little bit. Scorching Dragonfire. Feel like we can do better than that. I want a big bomb threat. I mean, more lands is... It's a thing, I suppose. Is this exile? It's not exile, it's a shuffle into their library. Interesting. I was just thinking about Belladross and what I would like to do with Belladross. Maybe I'm just going to go Chandra, Torture, Defiance again and do the exile. Hit a land, probably one of the best lands in our deck, unfortunately. Alright, so here comes Belladross. Gonna leave behind a 1/1. Oh, pays 10 life against a red deck. You are an interesting individual with a very crazy idea of what they're gonna do here. Dina. I guess there's a world where we just lose. A Shire making a 10/10. This is wild. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana to work with. Ten mana. I do need to kind of kill everything. I don't really have a good sweeper for the whole board. Let's do Scry. Heated Debate. I guess that works, sort of. So I can tick up for mana. This needs to X5 to kill a Shire. Although this gets dropped by everything dying as well, right? The non-tokens are lands, so if I kill these, it becomes a little bit smaller as well. So, like, kill you. You're a 9/9 now. I could also Chaos Swap the Ashaya. I don't really want to minus. That's kind of part of my game plan, is to not minus. If I can. Twice X. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's the play. I don't know. Dina's a spooky one, because Dina is a combo piece most of the time. Turn Timber Symbiosis. I get the impression that they're just Golgari Ramp, really, aren't they? Bane Fire. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could go a little bit more by doing treasure maps and trying to sweep the board with maybe this Chandra's minus. And that's probably the line.
You look flammable enough. Get out of my way. Or, you know, don't.
Let's scry. Sweltering Suns, I'm happy to kind of dump into the trash.
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
And then we got a big old Swelter next turn. Otherwise, we can Chaos Warp if we really want to as well. Big old Banefire. Here we go. Their Belladross ability to pay 10 and untap's not looking all that great right now. Guarantees I win, basically. Unless they combo win. Scavenging Ooze is worth 1, 2... well, 2 life. So they're at virtual 15 if they want to be. Hit me to draw a card, I would call that correct. Not going to kill any of my Planeswalkers, but the draw that they get might. Elysian Caryatids. Sure. Land, is that enough to win the game, actually? I don't know. The minus doesn't hit face, right?
Too hot for you.
Creature or Planeswalker, yeah. I feel like I might have almost made a big oopsie there.
Today's my lucky day.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. Oh god, we're not quite there yet. Oh no, we are, because Chandra's tick up puts them dead, right? And if it doesn't put them dead right away, it will eventually. Yeah, because this is 14, 15 with the emblem. They go to 15 with the Scavenging Ooze, have no other targets unless they kill their own creatures. Which I think is still a winning play for me. Because it means Chandra Awakened Inferno probably has a good chance of winning. Staying alive, and so does the other Chandra. Yep, they go to 15. So, dead on upkeep, unless they can find a way to stay alive. Maybe a Village Rites and then upkeep stop, I guess, would work. This looks like the kind of deck that would run a Village Rites. But they're constantly, at this point, trying to find 1 points of damage here and there. I mean, Belladross kind of, you know, does that. It creates 1/1s that gain 1 life here and there. But, like, they need to kill a creature now and then gain life from it. Oh, actually, no, they get to, yeah, carry out. Never mind. So they're going to 1. My mind's all over the place today, but this is a good match. Environmental Sciences gains 2 life. Damn, Strixhaven theme. I get the impression our opponent is a standard player. Alright, make sure Chandra Awakened Inferno's dead. But dead on upkeep if I Chandra tick up with Torture Defiance. And then she's actually ready to ult as well. Which will also kill our opponent. So they draw. They need to find Planeswalker removal here. I don't know, my line was pretty reasonable. But it also came with some risks, but it paid off. So, yeah. Not bad, not bad. Oh god, I was wondering if maybe we missed a point of damage somewhere along the line that could have maybe helped us not have to go through that absolutely arduous journey to find 1 point of damage. But yeah, it worked out anyway. So we'll take it. We'll take it. Pretty interesting list from our opponent, but yeah, everything's standard legal, right? So opponent's just playing the standard Brawl list in Historic Brawl to try and get their cosmetics, which is fair enough. I think some of them are standard legal, right? I don't know. I don't really like them. Are any of them standard legal? Like God's Willing, Brainstorm, Doomblade, Faithless Looting, Regrowth. None of them. Actually, none of them are standard legal, as it turns out. So I don't know why standard Brawl decks are getting played. Maybe our opponent doesn't realize or something like that. Either way. Next game. Alrighty then, against Korvold on the play with 2 methods in which to get to a turn 3 Chandra. We'll lead with the Cold Steel Heart though, no doubt, because it allows for the Slaying Fire. And then hopefully eventually ramps into a Sarkhan as well, so... yeah, sounds fine. We take this. Our opponent's playing Korvold, the Fey Curse King, 5 mana, ooh, Field of the Dead to lead. Well, at least it means we're not getting Assassin's Trophy, I suppose. Korvold, Jund colours, 5 mana 4/4 with flying. Whenever the Korvold enters the battlefield or attacks, you sack a permanent. Whenever you sack a permanent, you put a counter on Korvold and draw a card. So we get the turn 3 Chandra. We get an Ember Cat as well to get a little bit of pressure, as well as a block that hopefully means that we don't have to minus our Chandra. Opponent cultivates. I think the plan is to get Sarkhan down, which is doable right now, actually, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, I think we'll just get Sarkhan down. I mean, maybe we should have ticked up first just to see what we'd have got. Like Bone Crusher Giant, we can't cast it, but maybe we would have wanted to. So they go Korvold next turn, probably. So let's get the damage in while we still can. It's probably better than opening ourselves up to a Languish if we minus with Sarkhan. Our only issue now is Korvold comes down as a 5/5. If they can play it. Binding the Old Gods. Hits Sarkhan. Not sure about that one, Chief. Chandra's ulting the turn after next. Alright, well, let's see what we get. We get damage. We are going to get in with our Ember Cat. We've got many forms of damage in hand, and we're ready to ult. If our opponent does not kill Chandra, they will lose. They have no red mana for their Korvold, but Korvold's a bad move anyway. Korvold is a losing move. They need Planeswalker removal or bust. It's definitely doable, right? I don't know if they've got enough for, like, Casualties of War, but that would be kind of brutal. Because we've got Artifact, Creature, and Planeswalker here. It's definitely a card that they will have in their deck. I'm just hoping for the Korvold tap out. Spark Harvest. Boo hiss. Alright.
I am out of here.
Yes, you are. Okay. And Fatal Push. Wow. Maybe there's a world where they stabilize then. Fiery Emancipation. This only hits creatures or planeswalkers. So if I went Chandra first... This is what, 3 times as much? Triple? So this is 12. Yeah, we go Chandra first here, I think.
It's my turn. Yup. You're going.
Decline that. Put our opponent to that lethal threat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different land types for Korvold. I'm noticing a distinct lack of snowlands as well. That's the one way that you can really improve your Field of the Dead deck, is by splitting your forests between normal forest and
You don't need me anymore.
snow forests. Okay, Fiery Emancipation. They need to answer this or they die. And that can be done with an Assassin's Trophy, though. Or a Maelstrom Pulse. Or a Cross and Grip. Or many other things as well. They could also just gain life. Another option available to them, so they'll probably sack a zombie here if I had to guess. Goes for land, actually. Interesting. Digging for maybe the Emancipation answer. The one who brings glory is a threat that they need to answer. It pushes through Korvold as well. So we go to combat. They tap out. We slaying fire them for 12. Cool. We were also gonna deal 12 with this as well, so they had to answer it. So it was 2 lethal threats. So it was pretty good draw from us as well. Pretty decent. This deck's actually doing alright. It seems a little bit clunky. I feel like I'm getting a little bit lucky with some of my matchups, but it's still doing just fine. Like, it has a way of closing out the game. The Protect the Queen strategy is tried, tested, and occasionally works. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Next game. Alright, we're in, and our opponent is on a banger of a deck. We're going to keep this hand because it's got the turn 3 Chandra potential with decent removal, all of which actually kills our opponent's commander, and a reasonable threat along the way. It's not the best hand in the world, but it's a hand that we will be keeping. Our opponent is on Codie, Vociferous Codex. I don't even know if that's how that's pronounced. Vociferous? I'm going with Vociferous. Either way. It's a nice little meme deck that's actually not terrible. 3 mana, 1/4. You can't cast permanent spells, but you can pay 4 and tap it to make 5, and then whenever you cast your next spell, you exile cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card with lesser mana value, and then until the end of the turn, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So basically, Cascade and 2-for-1s all day, every day. We're going to go with Chandra here. Ember Cat does not allow us to get Fire's Invention down, unfortunately. Am I stomping? I'm not stomping, no.
This'll be easy.
Ah, best removal. That stings. That's fine, though. I mean, if their turn is Shockland Codie, then we could do something with that. Now we want land. That's annoying. Alright. Yeah, land would mean that we'd be able to pay commander tax for Chandra and we'd be able to cast her next turn. As it turns out, that is not the case, though. Could just die to Mana Screw now. The one downside to Chandra's Ember Cat. It doesn't allow you to cast everything else. So our opponent help themselves. Lots of hand disruption for them. Can go with the Stomp. Fair enough. Hey, alright, we got a land. So now we can go Fire's Invention, which allows a cheap Chandra Torture Defiance next turn. We can still get him for another 2. And no reason to cast any of this. But it all hits Codie, which is probably why they are not casting it. Because they know it's basically just going to die, and they need 19 more different forms of hand disruption to stop that from being the case. Unless they can give it haste, which is doable. Lawhold's command does technically give haste on one of its abilities, but it's a very expensive... Jesus Crimbus! There goes Tundra Fumarole. Sure. Do you have anything that isn't hand disruption? Like, anything at all? I can cycle Sweltering Suns if I tap here, right? Yeah. I think that's better than dealing the 2, which we can
You wanna go, tough guy?
deal right here anyway.
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Let's cycle. Might be able to cast our follow-up card, that's all I'm thinking, really. Chandra is back in play. Do you have another Planeswalker removal spell into hand disruption? They should probably be playing Codie out, yeah. So I'm going to go with the Soul Seer, because that means that I don't have to tick down with Chandra, and then I can keep my aggression going. Tick up here.
Yup, you're going down.
Yep, you are going down. We'll go with 3 damage to face. Opponent thinks twice. Goes to 8. Virtual 6 with the Ruins, which I'm considering cracking immediately. Though not too sure on that. Let's see. I can only cast 4 mana spells. If I did that, they'd be going to 6. Then 4 with the Ember Cat if I minus the Chandra. And then Valakut's Awakening for a 4 damage burn spell to face, which does exist. Yeah, I think I'll give it a shot. I mean, worst case scenario, I can use Chandra to tick up for mana, and I've still got 6 mana to play with. Heart of Kieran. I think I killed Codie.
Time to toast your marshmallows. S'mores, anyone?
Let's dig for a Banefire, maybe. Heart of Kieran's pretty nice, though, but I don't see it living very long, honestly. Lava Coil and Shatterskull Smashing. Sarkhan can turn my Chandra into a lethal threat. As well as make a lethal threat. Okay, land, and big dumb spell that wins them the game on the spot with little effort. Extra turn spell, okay. I was expecting Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Dodged a bullet. Solundi Vision. Not enough for big dumb mass manipulations, that's kind of cool. Timely Reinforcements, but no white mana. Oof. Thinks twice. Do they find the white land? They do not, and they are now dead. So, I don't know a single card that they could have had here with the 3 mana that would keep them alive. If it was like white mana, it could be like Teferi's Protection. But like they would have Time-Lid instead. What are we hitting them for? 12, 14 right now. 16 with Chandra. It's pretty reasonable. It's pretty reasonable. Alright guys, well that is going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you have, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Leave a comment down below what you're going to be playing in Historic Brawl. Give me some inspiration. Let me know down below. And other than that though, I'll see you all next time. Ta-ta.